If sometimes you struggle thinking if a deck should come to your collection or not, this video is going to help you with that. Hello my love, it's Rachel here, and I thought that it would be a great idea to sit here and talk to you a little bit about how to choose, how to decide which decks are meant to come to our collection, especially when it comes to indie decks, because they are more expensive. Especially if you live abroad, like I live in Canada, so we do have great artists and creators here, but the majority of decks, they end up coming from the United States. So there's the deck price, which is more expensive for us, plus shipping, right? So it is something to think about. And when it comes to indie decks, not all of them accept returns. So it's something, I don't know, I have been thinking a lot about that. I'm a person that I would not buy many indie decks. It's not something that I will do all the time. I remember my first indie deck was the Tarot of Delphi, which is a tarot deck that I know that is, I don't know, like that special deck that tons of people want. And it was my first indie deck, and then I don't even know, years and years without buying. I went years and years without buying any indie deck until recently I started buying the decks again. Well, first of all, every time I buy a deck, I have to see all the cards, because sometimes there's a card in the deck that can be a deal breaker for me. So I like to go through all the cards, so I watch flip throughs and so on. And I think that we always should buy things consciously, spend money consciously, and bringing material things into our lives, things that they have some meaning. That's what I believe, right? So especially, I think, I have always been like that my whole life, but especially now I think people are starting paying attention to that a little bit more. And for me, it's important to see all the cards, so that's the first tip that I would like to leave here. I think it's very important. Some people like to be surprised. It's not me. That's not me. Because as I just said, some cards can be just a big no-no for me, right? There is a deck recently, I'm not going to mention the deck, it is an indie deck, a super investment deck, and I was watching some reviews, but especially the flip throughs. And then I saw that there was one card there, guys, that, oh my God, thank God. People were mentioning that in the comments. The person, the how can I say, the video creator, right, didn't mention anything about that card, but I saw people commenting about the card, and then I went to do my research. I was like, oh my God, thank God. So it happens, like when we are looking, the answers, they show up. So for me, it's very important. Okay, that's one of the aspects of choosing or deciding which deck should come to our collection. Now, if you're a collector, of course, you're going to approach in a different way. Even though I don't know, for some people my collection is a big collection, for some people it's a small collection. I have around 200 decks. For me, it is a considerable collection. I would say it's large for me, in my opinion. If you're a deck collector, you're going to buy decks for other reasons that I really don't know, because I don't consider myself a collector. Because even though I have several decks, I buy them thinking if I'm going to use them. I buy them and I use them as tools. I do have decks that I bought thinking that I would use, and ended up not using the deck. Like, it's not a deck that I really use. But it doesn't happen all the time. And actually the one that I can think about is exactly the Tarot of Delphi. It's a deck that taught me that I love that artwork, but in the end of the day, it is a kind of artwork that I don't really read with. I like to appreciate, but not that much to use in a reading. It can change at any moment. Now I have the deck for several years. It never changed, but who knows? Now, I started buying more indie decks. I'm not going to show you all of them. I only have 3 of them here, and I want to share with you some of my experiences that helped me to decide that these decks should come to my collection. So, first of all, I never buy a deck like indie deck or mass market deck, doesn't matter what deck it is. Like, I look I see, I like it, and bah, I go and I just buy the deck. I never do that. I like to, oh my God, I want it so much. Then I like to sleep. And not only to sleep, it's not only one night. I like to spend a few days before I really decide if I really want the deck. Because sometimes that part of ourselves, or sometimes we call that ego in Kabbalah, but that part that wants, it's easy to look at things and want things. Tons of we say shiny objects out there. It is attractive. It is beautiful. Decks, they are gorgeous, right? They are the most beautiful thing. I love them. But do you really need them? Or are we just buying because somebody else really loved the deck? So even if I watch a video and I see the person like praising a deck, it goes to my wish list, but I don't buy it right away. So one of the things that happens to me when a deck's really meant to come to my collection is that I start dreaming about the deck. And they are intense dreams. I shared with you already about the Witch's Tarot, but it was a mass market deck. I saw the deck and I was thinking about the deck. Then I slept, I had a dream. In the next day, I went there and I bought the deck. But one deck that it happened exactly like this was this one here. It is the Moonchild Tarot Shadow Edition. This deck, it's not, Daniel Noel decks, they came out years and years ago, and it was never my style because I'm not the Starseed kind of girl, this kind of stuff. But something happened with this deck. Look at this color. And I was like, oh my God, it's gorgeous. But it is, in the end of the day, an investment deck. She's in Canada as well, but it is an investment deck, right? And then I was like, I don't know. I waited for years. I waited for days. And what started happening is that I started dreaming. This deck started showing up in my dreams, and it's so intense. Like, I am inside the deck, I'm inside the images, and I'm interacting with these people. But I don't ask for that. I don't say like, oh, if you're meant to be, please show up in my dreams. It's not something that happens. Just, I can't prevent that from happening. So maybe it's happening to you as well. Maybe you look at one deck and you're thinking about adding a deck, and she's going to show up in your dreams. Be open to that. And it's extremely intense. It's not like, of course, I never had an experience when the deck would show up in a negative way, I could say. No, it's always it is overwhelming. It's very intense, emotionally intense. I feel like I'm inside those cards. It's crazy. And this one was one of those decks, so I went there and I hit purchase. It's not a deck that I use all the time at all, but I'm super glad I have this deck in my collection, because the few times I used this deck, I read with her, it was very powerful. She always delivers, she never disappoints. So I'm really happy. The quality, I don't have anything to add. It's simply fantastic. I love this deck. Another deck that came to my collection, and now I'm starting feeling something different about decks as well. So what I think that is extremely important is to learn, because I think it's something that we can learn. To learn, it is to learn to recognize how your intuition speaks with you. And it is allowing yourself to feel, to understand. It doesn't matter how your intuition speaks to you, but it's important to be able to identify when that's happening. So this one here is the Flow Tarot. This deck was in my wish list, guys, for a long time. I don't even remember when, but a long time. But it was always like, there was not a real reason for me to add her to my collection. Like, I would not use tarot, read with tarot, like considering the elements, like, oh, these, I didn't see a real use for me, but I wanted because I thought it was beautiful. Then another day I was watching a video. I don't remember the video. I don't remember, but I think it was like showing several decks. It was not a review because I was not looking for a review for this deck. And then this person started showing these images and I started crying. And then I was like, what's going on? I never had such a reaction with any deck. Like watching a video, seeing the images, starting crying, never. Then I said, okay, let's do it then. And I was still like, I was not so sure. But that feeling was so intense that I decided to trust her, to trust my gut, to trust my emotions and my intuition there. Emotions are not the same as intuition, and they're not the same. I'm just saying that it was everything mixed in this situation. We can talk more about that in another video, but when this deck got here, I was like, I still don't know. And pretty soon, she showed me why she was here. She is, I don't know if it's going to be like that forever, but so far, she is my Kuan Yin oracle, my Kuan Yin deck. Right? The deck, she's like a channel. She's the main way where she speaks to me besides the Kuan Yin oracle. And of course, meditation, visualization, yes, but I'm talking about tools, about our tarot and oracle decks. And that's why she's here. And she's been fantastic. And then another deck that came to my collection, this deck came. This is another deck that I never, this one wasn't, well, I'll be honest, this deck wasn't in my wish list because I don't want to say that I don't like, because I think it's beautiful, but I don't use animal decks. You know, decks based on animals, and I thought that this deck was too based in animals, which is not true. I'm going to tell you already, it is not true. We have beautiful, let me show you, beautiful images that they're not animals. Look at this one, Temperance. But that's what I thought about this deck. I never watched the flip through stuff like that because I don't know, it was not just not calling. And then again, watching some random videos, and I don't even remember now if I was watching some random videos or if I saw, I don't remember what happened. And I started looking at this deck. And something really crazy was calling me to this deck. And because I was having such a great experience with this elemental deck, because this is the deck of the element Earth. I have an unboxing for this deck here. I'm going to link here somewhere. I decided to give it a try. And you'll see in the unboxing, I realized only in the unboxing, this is a deck that screams my dad energy. It is like talking to my dad, but in the end of the day, it is a little bit about talking to my mom and my brother as well. They are all in the spiritual plane now. Like when it came this weekend that we had, the past weekend, I don't know when this video is coming out, but you know, when we had like a Halloween, some of you celebrate Halloween, others celebrate, I think it's called Samhain, sorry for mispronunciation, I don't know how to say the word. Others were remembering like the Dia de Finados for us, like, or Dia de los Muertos, and so on. So it was one weekend, because it was on weekend, when the veil was thinner. And then I was there asking, like, when it comes to my ancestors or my beloved familiars, my beloved relatives, everybody, my beloved ones who already left this life, who I would probably be working with. And then let me find the card, the Two of Air. But when I saw this card, it was not exactly this title, the Two of Swords that was talking to me, that was speaking. It was these birds. And I saw them as my father, my brother, and my mother. And I thought, all three of you? Okay, Okie dokie. And it was the most powerful experience I had in years. And it's happening very often now in the past 2 years, especially this year, like, oh my God, it was the most powerful experience in years. It was the most powerful because it is a threshold year, 2025. And this deck here came to speak with me. This card in this deck. So this deck is fulfilling a beautiful role inside of my collection. Now, what I think that I would like to leave you thinking about, I don't know if you agree or not, but something just for you to reflect upon about, it is that sometimes we watch videos, we see the person super excited, and especially if we like the creator, because usually we are going to watch videos created by people that we like, that we appreciate. Sometimes we may feel like it's going to be for us, and sometimes it's not. So that's why every time I see a creator sharing a video, I'm adding, and I love the deck, I add the deck to my wish list, but I don't buy right away. I let my intuition speak to me. So in the case of the Flow Tarot, it was, I don't even know when it was created. If it was here, I don't even know, guys. Long time ago. Like, it was just there sitting on my wish list until she manifested herself. And they're going to find a way to show us that it's time to add the deck to our collection, especially when we are walking this path, this personal spirituality, of aligning with our essence and listening to our soul, to our real essence. And another thing I don't do as well, I think no, that's what prevents me from backing decks on that Kickstarter, is that I really like to see all the cards, and sometimes not all the cards are available. And I don't know, in the end of the day, I always look and I see, but there's few cards that are not for me, because they are investment decks. So when it comes to buying indie decks, investment decks, I like to look all the cards and make sure that I love many of them and I am okay with the other ones. Not like I love many of them and I hate the other ones. I already did that with mass market decks and it was fine. But when it comes to indie decks, I like to be even more conscious about adding them to my collection. I hope this video helps you in some way or form. Let me know in the comments how you decide when a deck's meant to come to your collection. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for your support. Lots of love, my dear.